Okay, let's get started. Email Plus. First, I will cover the tabs going across the top just quickly. My emails, these are the emails that are in draft mode that you're working on that have not yet been sent. Sent emails. This is where all of your sent emails are unless you have deleted them. You can view sent emails either in a full list like I have right now, or you can click over on the View by Folder button, which would show you folders. I don't have any of my emails in folders. I don't send that many emails. But the folder view is very good if you send a lot of emails. You can organize them then. In the full list view, of course, you can sort by name and date. You can't do that in the folder view. Okay, templates. I'm not going to spend much time here. A template is an email, and you're going to watch me create an email from beginning to end. A template is an email that cannot be sent. You would create a template if you want maybe to give all of your staff members access to the template. Then whenever they create a new email, they could start with exactly what you wanted them to start with, because when I click on the create button here, well, I will demonstrate that in a second. But templates. Oh, I'm sorry, I was going to create a new template. If I go back to my emails and click create, then there is an option to create an email from a template. So that is that predefined email that you've already created. You have set up perfectly the way you want it. You have all the colors. You have, everything in the footer that you want, but it cannot be emailed. It is just a template to start with from right here when we create a new email. So that's what templates are, emails you cannot send. The queue, this is where you can always see what's happening with your email. If there were any emails being sent right now, we would see them here in the queue. We would see the priorities assigned to them and how many emails are being sent per minute. We can send about 1,000 a minute pretty easily, sometimes more than that. So the emails do move off of this queue very quickly. Department, these are the emails that have been created by your department that you do not have access to. So if you wanted to find something that someone else was working on, this is how you would do it. You could then click on it. You can't look at it, but you can go see who the admins are if you needed to contact someone. Okay, and auto, I'm not going to cover that tab. All right, so let's get started with Email Plus then. Let's create a new email. When we create a new email, we have different options. I can create a single column email. This is recommended, this is supported, this is our wizard approach. I can create a 2-column email. This will be retired at some point. We recommend not using 2-column emails because they do not work properly in all devices, more specifically mobile devices. They do not always handle 2 columns very well. We can create an e-card, which is just like a simple announcement with a nice image, nice artwork at the top. Or we can create an email from a template from that templates tab that I just talked about. At the bottom of this screen, then who is sending it? I am sending this email. That means I am supplying the people that it is going to. And that typically means through the group manager. I've created groups in the group manager, or maybe I'm sending it to a listserv, but I am providing that information. If the foundation is providing that information and it's a TED email, I would click the second option here. Everything you're seeing today, I'm going to be going through the top option. However, it's still relevant. The only difference is with the foundation, they would create your groups. You don't get your groups from the group manager. They would create your groups and assign them, and then also they would add your unsubscribe information, and at the end, they would do the official sending of it for you. But everything else pertains to what you will see today. Okay, so let's create a new email, single column email. I'm sending this email. All right, on the general tab, it's just general subject information from and to, and what to do with replies. So very, very easy to fill this out. Let's say this is a tools. How about stories about pets? Okay, that's going to be the subject name. Preview text. This is, well, I'll just add the preview text and then show you when we get there. That's designed to be kind of a teaser for your email when people see it in the list of emails before they've opened it. So we'll see where that appears. From, it's going to come from web services. Over here, the from email address, this is important. The from email address has to be approved. The domain has to be approved. So if you do a mouse over on that, we will show you all of the approved domains that can send emails in Email Plus. Some that you will not see is you won't see Yahoo, you won't see Gmail, you won't see Hotmail, because those large companies are not going to give us permission to say that we are them and send emails as them. But anything for Illinois.edu, UIC, UIS, those are pretty easy to get added. If you do need to add a domain, simply click the Contact Us button at the bottom, and it takes a couple weeks. Okay, the to information, who is it going to? For today, I'm just going to send it to my test group. You can send it to as many people as you want. It's just going to process in the queue. And again, we'll send about 1,000 a minute or more, and it will finish when it finishes. Okay, I can include additional email addresses if I wanted to copy my boss on this without actually putting her in the group. If you do have listservs, you need to paste them over here, and that is because listservs reporting is handled differently than individual reporting, and we need to break it up properly. If you don't put it over here, you won't get proper reporting results for listservs. At the bottom, this one, okay, so replies, where do they go? By default, they go to the from address. We can say no. If we say no, then we attempt to put in our no reply at web services address and have them go there. If we say yes, you can put in a different name and email. This works some places. Some email providers do not honor this at all. So they will always send the replies to the from address. So you're going to get mixed results. You can try it and see what happens. Half of the world uses it, half of the world doesn't. Okay, so that's it on the general tab, just general information about this email. Okay, I can send a test email at any time. Of course, we haven't added any content yet. I can view the email at any time. Here's what it looks like. I can see it used a public affairs skin by default for me. For you, it would probably be your unit or at least your campus. Okay, so subscription. That's a sub-tab on the general tab. Since I added a group to send to, now I can, oops, did I add a group? I talked about adding a group. I did. Okay, it's Jim's group. I'm not going to spend much time on the group manager today. That is a workshop for this afternoon, but I need to go look at Jim's group and see if subscribing is turned on. So I'm going to go look at my test group. And yes, subscribing is enabled. Okay, so let's go back to Email Plus and to subscription. I've turned on subscribing. Here's the link that is going to appear at the bottom. By default, it's subscribe. I'm going to choose the group. If I had added 10 groups, I can only choose one group to subscribe to. We would not subscribe you to all 10 groups. So this is the group they will subscribe to. Unsubscribe if I want to add it. If this is like official email going out to, you know, Web Tools users, then, or if it's an announcement that everyone needs, I would not put an unsubscribe. For most of mine, I use an opt-out. Okay, the difference between an opt-out and an unsubscribe. An unsubscribe is when you're taking people out of a group, meaning they would be removed from Jim's group if you were unsubscribing from Jim's group, deleted from there. Sometimes you don't want to delete people from Jim's group because maybe it's used in 10 different places and it still can be used in the other 9. In that case, you would create a group in the group manager, again, which we will cover this afternoon, of type opt-out. If I choose opt-out, what it's doing is it's simply adding the people that want to unsubscribe to this additional group, and it's not taking them out of the original group. That way, as long as I always include the same opt-out group and select it, now we will send to everyone in Jim's group, but we will omit anyone in the opt-out group. So anyone that said, yes, opt me out, and we put them in this group, they would not get that email. Okay, that is the unsubscribe. Appearance. This is simply where you choose what you want this thing to look like. We have a view gallery button over on the right. It makes things a little easier to scroll through and see. Let's say I wanted to use, obviously I have access to a lot more skins than most people would. Let's try this one. Okay, so I've applied that. So right now, that's what my email would look like. I think I will maybe go back to something different. Okay, we'll use Applied Health Sciences skin for this test. Okay, this is something that a lot of people miss. In Email Plus, Settings and Styles, this is very important, this tab. First of all, you can turn off or on the Generate Archive, the link at the bottom that says, well, click here to see this online. You can turn that on or off. You can choose your domain. When someone views this email in a browser, what are they going to see? But the important thing is customizing your fonts and colors. This is where you change the fonts and colors of your text, of everything in the content area of your email. So any of the elements that you add, if you add a heading 1, here's the colors, the size, all of that. Heading 2, the content area itself, all your colors. So this is an important screen. This is where your colors are set. And we do get this question quite a bit. So you would change your colors here, you would save it, and you're done. Then if you wanted to copy this email the next time, so you don't have to redo all your colors, you could copy this. Or again, you could go back to that templates tab and create a template, set all your colors, and simply start from that template every time, and then you know you're getting all of your custom settings. All right. Message. Let's build an email. Doesn't take very long. We don't have very many different element types. Here are the only element types to build your email. I typically just use the heading 1, 2, and content and spacers. Lines, anchors, social media, not so much. Content is where I do most of my work. We're in the process of getting a new designer. Once we have the new designer on staff, we're going to look at adding to this list of what you can do with Email Plus, what you can build, the elements that you have available to build your email. So I'm going to start with, I usually start mine with the same thing as the subject, so it matches the subject. Can't quite remember what my subject was, something like that. Okay, so the heading, if we wanted that heading to be a URL to a web page, we could add that there. Style overrides. I just explained where you set all your colors. maybe there's something in your email that you want to override. Maybe all of your headings are red, except for you want this one to be blue. This is where you would do it. In any of the elements in Email Plus, you can override your font size, colors, things like that, right as you're adding your element. So typically these are not used unless it's something special you want to stand out differently than the other colors that you've already set. This is where you would do it. Okay, as we add our elements, we see them start to appear in the list. Okay, I can see, yep, I got the subject right, only I did not capitalize pets, so you can always edit anything and save it. Cancel always takes you to the previous screen. It does, as long as I've saved on any screen I'm on, then cancel simply takes you to the previous screen. If you haven't saved any of your changes, of course, it would cancel your changes. So if you don't know where you're at in Web Tools, simply click cancel. It always takes you back to the previous screen, and very quickly you'll figure out where you're at. Okay, so we've added a heading. If I view it, now I can see stories about pets in the email. So now let's add, we'll add a heading 2. So let's say the first section of this is going to be humans' best friends. So I'll save that, cancel. Now we've added it. Now let's add our content. There's a couple different ways to put in this heading 2 or the title of this section. I'm going to show you both of them. Okay, here's the second way. Now I'm adding a content block. I want to put in my paragraphs of text, my image, but I can also add a title here. So I'm not going to do this I'm not going to do this quite yet, but we will in a second. First, let's add some content. Okay, let's save it. View it. Okay, here's what it looks like right now. Things are kind of squished together. That's okay. We insert spacers later. I usually do it at the end, and that will fix everything, but I can see my heading 1, my heading 2, and the 3 paragraphs. So let's now look at adding an image before I explain the titles. Image is a sub-tab. So if you wanted to add 10 images in your email, you would add 10 element blocks on the previous screen. So let's choose an image. Okay, I'm going to do 2 different things here. It says add image or video. I'm going to do both. Start by uploading your image. Videos require a thumbnail image also. So even if you want to add video, you have to have a thumbnail image of that, and you'll see why shortly. So let's start just by adding an image. I just chose a random image. Okay, there's the image. We have image settings at the bottom. I can see this is a large image sized at 270 pixels. We size that for you. If you change it to a thumb, it's going to be a 90 pixel image. If we change it to custom, then we let you size it. I'm going to explain the ramifications of that in a second. So I've added an image. We've not given it a caption or alt text, and it's not a link to a page or a video. So let's save it and take a look and see what it looks like. All right, so right now I can see it's left aligned, and it takes up about half of the screen, or half of the width of this email. If I had sent this to myself on a phone, 270 pixels on an iPhone 5, 6, something like that, fills up the screen almost perfectly, and on mini droids and mini mobile devices. So the large image is designed to fit the screen perfectly on a mobile device. Fills up the screen, all the text would wrap. Okay, why is that important? I'll explain that by going and changing this to custom image. And let's say we want this custom image. I'm going to guess the email is 600 pixels wide. So let's set it to 600, and we're going to center it. Okay, not bad. Okay, it's a little wider than it should be because it's kind of broken my margin or padding over on the left here. So it's just a few pixels wider than the content area of this. But you can see, hey, it looks great. Now what happens on a phone is it will resize this. It will shrink this down to the 2.5 inches you have or the 3 inches you have. But the problem is it shrinks every other thing in the email proportionately, meaning all of this text, if we had set it at 12 pixels, is now 6 pixels on the phone, and it's very hard to read. You would have to use your fingers and scroll out or scroll back and forth to read it, all because of this image. Now we see people, and this looks good, and on a desktop, I could make this email look twice this wide. It would look fantastic. It could look fantastic in Outlook. Okay, but now let's say it's a 1200 pixel image and my phone only supports 270. So now your text is going to be about 2 pixels big. You know, so custom images can really cause problems with sending your emails and having people view them and use them on a phone. If you use the wizard and use a thumb or a large, people on a phone are going to have a very good experience. Custom, that's up to you if you want to support that or not. If you do use custom, I would suggest testing it everywhere. You know, send emails, test them on your phone, test them on your iPad. All right, so I'm going to put this back on large for now. That's just one issue with custom images. So I put it back on large. If I view it, I can see it's back to where it was. All right, I could make this a link to a web page. Everybody knows how that works. I can make it a video URL. So I could copy a URL out of YouTube. Let's see, I have one here. And save it. Okay, what happens is we place a little arrow on top of the image. You can see that kind of represents a video. So now if we view it, we can see that if they click on this, it's going to play a video. It's going to go to YouTube to play the video, but it is going to play a video. Okay, we have another option, embed video. So now we can grab embed video code from YouTube or wherever and paste it in there. So I'll do that. And I just took the default settings, 560, it's probably about right. Okay, there it is. Looks great. I can click on it, starts playing, everything's great. Now, here's what happens when we send the email, because emails do not support video embed code. You can't play a video in Outlook. So I just sent myself a test email. I'm going to show you what that looks like as soon as it comes. Whenever you click the send test button, we try to send it immediately so that you're not waiting for it. And now I'm waiting for it. So I will show you that as soon as it arrives. Oh, here it came. So of course, here's what it looks like in the email. It's got the picture of the flowers, and then back in, here's what people would see online. So what happens is when they click this, it takes them to the online version and they play it there. So what you would want to do, most likely, here's what I do when I send something like this out, is I would use a little snippet tool because again, we need that image to start with, that image to upload that is going out in the email. I would just grab a little picture of this, something like that. Oops, save it. All right, so now we have that. I can go back to Email Plus, back to my Image tab, delete the image, upload the one that I just grabbed. And send the test again. So now we have a thumbnail image of the video itself. So when I get the email, it should look exactly like this. When someone clicks on the arrow in the email, it's going to take them to the email, to the online version to play it, so that they don't lose the context of the email that they're in. So that is what determines if you want to use the go to a video URL. You can simply paste in the URL if you don't care if they're leaving your email and going to YouTube, or if you want them to kind of maintain that context of the email and have it play in the email, then you would want to use the embed code. Okay. So now that's everything with an image. I'm going to cancel out of here. And I said I would explain the titles. So right now we see the name, content, type content. Okay, that is where we've been working. All right, the name of this section is Humans Best Friends. So I put it in using a heading 2. Now let's put it in using this instead. It looks a little different, but it's good if you want to have several sections. Let's say you did have 10 images and you have 10 content sections here. It would be nice to know, oh, this is an image of Bob and this is an image of Sally. And in case you needed to edit them, you wouldn't want to just randomly click or have to go count, figure out what to click on. So I'm going to delete Humans Best Friends here. And let's insert the title here. Oops. Okay. So now if I cancel back, we can see Humans Best Friends. We have a name to this content element. So if we had, 10, 20, 30 content elements, at least now we can identify them. All right, display title is off. That means currently it is only going to display right here, nowhere else. So if I click view, we lost our title. We have to say, hey, we want to display not only on the previous screen, but on the public email itself. So once I turn that on, then I can also put in a URL if I want. I'll just put in a URL, and then I can put in a byline. Okay, so now we see Humans Best Friends by James Wilson. Again, we haven't put our spacers or anything in yet, and that's how that works. And it is a link, you can see, because we added the link. Okay, so I'll get rid of the byline, get rid of the link. Okay, there's the content we were working with. There is the video. I'm going to delete that and go back to just using an image for the rest of this test. And save. Okay, and maybe we'll right align it. Okay, there's where the email is right now. Just to have a little bit more going on, let's go ahead and add a second content block. I'm going to do this one very quickly. I don't have anything new to show you here. I just want a little bit more to look at. Okay, I'm going to display the title. I've added my paragraphs, the title. Let's add an image. Okay. Oops. I think I clicked too quick before the image was available. There it is. All right, so there's what the email looks like. You can see you can build an email very quickly. You can, I cancel out of here. I could insert lines in between, the sections. Spacers will do that. Anchors, if I wanted to insert anchors, Here are the things we've inserted. I could put anchors, which are just links at the top that, you know, go down to that section. They don't work on, what is it? What do they work on? They may not work on iPhones. They don't work everywhere. Anchors don't work everywhere. They work in most places. However, I've seen people putting less and less content in their email and more links to the content, which make anchors not as relevant as they used to be. Is people are putting less content and linking to their content. Okay, so I'm going to delete my anchors element. Social media, we recommend you don't use this anymore in Email Plus. It is available in the Skin Designer, and that's a more logical place to do your social media so that you only do it in one place rather than every single email. Okay, so there's our email. Let's say we're done with it. I'm going to insert spacers, which simply puts a spacer in between every element block. Now, if I view it, you can see that things are spaced out properly and look better. Okay. Close a few of these tabs. Okay, salutation. Salutation, you would only use this screen if you want to put in hello somebody or something like that, but you don't know all the names. Let's say you only know half the names. Then I can turn this on and we can say, oh yeah, we want hello Jane, hello first name. There's what would go in, but we could also put in hello alum if we don't know their name, something like that. So if you need a default, if you want something else, because if you take this and you just go put it in your message and you say hello first name and we don't have the first name, it's just going to say hello comma. So this is a way you can get around that if you want to. And I wouldn't even have to put anything in. I could leave it blank, and that way if we have a first name, you get a salutation. If we don't, you don't. That is when you would use the salutation tab. So I'm going to turn that off for now. And all right. Now let's go back to the message tab and use the salutation. So let's say at the top of this, I'm just going to throw in a salutation. I didn't really build my email for a salutation, but I'll add one. Okay, there's the salutation. I'm going to explain these variables, first name, last name, anything you want to create. You could use as a mail merge variable. You could have, you know, paragraph 1, that could be a variable. It just, whatever you upload into the group manager, and again, that is the workshop that's happening at 1:30 today. So first name is part of what's in the group manager. So I should have that. So I will save it, send a test email, and while we're waiting for that, okay, so you saw how I inserted a mail merge variable, just squiggly brackets, and then whatever we called it in as it was uploaded in the group manager, which you'll see this afternoon. Okay, salutation tab only gets used if you need a default, if you don't have all of the salutation information. Files, if you have additional files, maybe you want to upload spreadsheets or PDFs and link to them from the email. You cannot attach a file to an email in Email Plus. You would upload them, you would upload your attachments on the Files tab and link to them somewhere in your email. That would be your attachment. Labels, this doesn't get used very much, but here are all the links in the email right now. I could go in and say, I don't want this to be HS, I want it to be Applied Health Sciences. And then in the reports, you wouldn't see the URLs, you would see whatever your labels were. So this is a way to customize the reports that we're going to look at in a second. All right, let's keep moving. Preview. If you are using mail merge variables, everybody could have a different looking email if you were using different paragraphs as variables. So here on the preview tab, you can type in an email that's in the group manager that you're going to send to, and then you can see what, you can look at it, or you can send an email to yourself to see what they're going to see. So the preview tab allows you to see anything that's being sent out as part of this email, regardless of all the mail merge, variables that you've used. You can see what anyone else is going to see. Okay, send. Now let's say we're happy with this, we've tested it, we're ready to send it. At the top of the send tab, this is who receives the test email every time I click the send test button. Right now it's just me. I could put in more people here, separated by semicolons, and they would be getting all of these tests also. At the end, after the email has completely processed and sent, here is who gets the, hey, this email has finished message. So you can put in, other people here too if you want. All right, we make you do a final check before you send, and it just says, hey, here's the subject, who it's from, who it's to, is archiving, or is, archiving, subscribing, unsubscribing on. We make you send one final test email. Hopefully you look at it and in your Outlook or wherever and make sure it looks correct. Let's see, did I get my last? Okay, so yes, I got it, and we can see hello James was inserted in there. So I didn't spend any time trying to format that, but the mail merge variable did work. All right, so once we've sent that final test, now we can either send it now or we can schedule to send later. You can schedule for whenever you want out in the future and it'll send at that time. I'm going to go ahead and send this thing now. Okay, and it says waiting. So now if I jump to the queue, we should see, oh, nope, it hasn't even hit the queue yet. So we're going to wait just a minute. We have a process that runs like every 5 minutes to see if there's any emails waiting. So very quickly, well, it's going to happen so quick, I'm probably going to miss it because there's only 4 emails in it and we send 1,000 a minute. So we're probably not going to see anything on this screen. At some point you will, if you just keep going to the queue tab, or if you're sending, 50,000 emails. All right, I'm not going to wait for that. It'll show up here in the sent tab shortly, so it is still in that waiting state. Okay, let's say that it has completed sending and we want to know what happened. So here is the Web Tools Workshop email that you probably got a couple days ago. I sent it to 7,800 people. I'm on the sent tab again. This is where my email that I just sent will show up here in a couple minutes. And we have a reports tab and we have a new archive tab. Okay, so on the reports tab, this is where we generate our reports. So here's what you would see when you come in. I'll start with just a summary PDF. I'm going to go over a couple of these very quickly. So I've created that, it's processing. I click again, refresh, okay, it's finished. Here is the report. So I can see that there were 2,400 opens, which is 30%. I can see 54 were not 5,400 were not opened. 43 were 100 were open on desktop, and 476 on mobile. Usually it's way more on mobile, or at least for me. I can see how many people clicked, how many total clicks. If I scroll down, we can see what happened. There were no bounces. That's pretty good. And here are all the links that were clicked, how many times they were clicked. Okay. Oh, there were no bounces to university emails. Okay. So that's a summary report. We offer a few different reports. As you can see, if I wanted to see what user clicked what, how many times they clicked it, if I just want to see the link click totals, we can do that. We can see how many emails were opened, who opened them. Pretty much all the information we have is right here. I'm going to back out of this and go to a different email because there were no bounces. I want something with bounces. So I'm going to go down to one of these. I don't know what all of these are, but let's try this one. No bounces. I'm doing a pretty good job of managing that group that I send to. When I get my bounces, which I'm trying to show you, well, I'll explain it as soon as I do. Try somebody else's email. Don't know what this one is. Let's try that. Sometimes people give me access to help them and then remains in my list for a long time. 9 bounced. All right. So now let's say that you've sent out 50,000 emails and you have questions. What happened with some of these? Did they get delivered? What you can go down to is the sent and bounces or sent and bounces detail. I'm going to go to the detail, create that report, and look at it. It's a spreadsheet. At the top are all of the successful emails that were sent. Okay, here's the outcome. Everything is sent, everything's great. If it says sent, that means it was successfully delivered to the email provider it was going to. It was sent, our system believes it was 100% successful. If I scroll to the bottom, we're always going to find our bounces. So I can see, okay, why did CTM at illinois.edu not get this? Okay, it was a hard bounce and it was an invalid address. So very easy to see who got it, who didn't. What I do I send out so many emails to so many people, and I don't want 1,000 bounces in my inbox. So I simply hard bounce. I would grab these, paste them in my opt-out group. Now I know these will never be sent to again because these are being automatically pulled from me, so I can't remove them from the original source. But it's an easy way to clean up your groups. If you're getting a lot of bounces, you could simply go to the sent and bounces detail, copy them, put them in an opt-out group, and then include that opt-out group when you send, and you won't get any more bounces if you're not able to actually just go delete them from the group itself. Okay, so let's go back to reports. Those are our reports. We have several. Try them out, but they're pretty descriptive. You can run as many as you want and delete them. Links. We have a link sub-tab. This is where if you had a problem with a link, you could go fix it. Okay, so if you made a typo or whatever and needed to go fix it, you could do that here. Or I'm sorry, this is where you would go in and put in a label. Okay, I'll show you where to fix your links on the archive tab here in just a second. Blocked. Okay, these emails were blocked for different reasons, but we show you what we have blocked on our end. If someone isn't getting something, it's because we know that it is bad. It hasn't been successful for many, many sends, so we block those. If we don't block them, then we start to get bad ratings with Spark Post and different places for sending bad emails. All right, unsubscribe. No one unsubscribed from this email. Archive. If you made a typo, if you need to fix something, this is where you can go fix it. Here is your email, everything in it. If there was a problem in this parking link, I could go update it right there, click save. This does not fix the email that's in somebody's inbox. It only fixes the online archive of the email. And privileges, of course, that's where you can add other people to have access to this email. All right, we are getting near the end. I probably forgot something. Let's see, we've had a few questions. So let me see what questions I've missed. When people go to the subscribe screen, does it show what group title or or the email title? Let's see, I'm not quite sure what that means. Let's go there. So on the subscribe screen, I I'm not quite sure I understand.
This is Emily. I asked that question from like the viewer standpoint. If you hit subscribe on an email, how does that look like on their end? Like, do they see the title of that group or the title of that email, or what are they
Oh, I'm
seeing?
not sure off the top of my head. Top of my head, you just have to click on it and see. I don't know. I could go through that process, and if I have time, I can do that at the end.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure off the top of my head. Okay. Oh, I am going to stop recording. 1 second.